Good afternoon. This is Ben Yarbrough with Calyptix Security, and I'm very excited to have with us today Nick Pallone, and we're going to be unveiling the future for Calyptix. It's Calyptix Cloud Manager, also known as CCM. So today it's something we've been working on for many years. Quick agenda. We'll do a little welcome, intro, vision, overview, live demo, how to get involved in the beta, and when we have a planned launch of CCM. And then we've got a few additional sneak peek services we are close to making available. And we'll conclude with Q&A. So I'm CEO at Calyptix, work with the team to prioritize how we serve our partners and tools and services we bring to market. I've been doing a lot of partner calls lately and getting a lot of great feedback. But more importantly, today we have Nick Pallone.
Hey, y'all, I'm Nick Pallone. I'm one of the developers here at Calyptix. And I've been one of the main people behind our Calyptix Cloud Manager effort for the past several years, actually. And I'm really excited today to be able to show some of it to you.
So this truly is a big day for Nick. He does a lot of development on a lot of the different systems within AccessEnforcer, but his primary focus has been the CCM platform. So before we go too far, we're going to ask you a quick question, and let's see if I can turn this one on. Poll here. So like the poll is pretty straightforward. So that this guy will ask you if you could name the single most important piece of a central console for your AccessEnforcer or firewalls. So it's kind of limiting. It's only one question, one answer, right? So it may be a little frustrating, but we'd appreciate if you guys could let us know what that number one thing is. And you take a moment, you should be able to vote. I'm not seeing, let's see. Okay, it's in process. We got about half of the folks have voted. Have it. And if you have another reason for a console, there's going to be an opportunity in the survey at the end to let you share that other reason. So we're almost done. Let's give it another 30 seconds. Don't think too hard about it. It's really just a quick gut reaction. So and we'll share the results. So give you 5 more seconds. Got a few left out there. You can get 1 or 2 more votes. That'd be great. All right. We're going to tabulate the results. And we're going to share the outcome. So that's supposed to show. Hopefully it is. Yep. Gary. So Nick, we got
number one coming in, network visibility and troubleshooting. And then configuration changes. And then after that, we got the management and drift prevention, as well as the actual performance. So, okay, no, it's interesting to see people are most concerned with visibility, which is kind of something we've only started to focus on a little bit more recently. But we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline.
Can you make it visible, Nick?
Yes, I can.
All right, let's get started. That's awesome, guys. That question, quite candidly, is going to have an impact very fast. And I think you'll see it as we move forward with the solution. Now I have to stop sharing and return. There we go. So how do we get here, Nick? There's a lot of pieces in play. And maybe instead of getting into the phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can give an overview of the architecture of CCM.
Yeah, so CCM is based off of our AccessEnforcer core API, which is an effort began back in version 4. If you've been a partner with us long enough, you might enjoy this trip down memory lane. And if you're not, well, welcome to the quick history. But basically, that was the beginning of a point where all new features that we build for AccessEnforcer are built upon a common platform that allow us to configure them and manage them without the use of our traditional GUI. And so in addition to that being the bedrock for all new features, over time, we've been converting older features and more traditional parts of the AccessEnforcer to use Wow. And then over time, we've expanded that further and further, including things being able to monitor live connections and bandwidth, long-running jobs in our notification system, as well as a bunch of other, actual networking features. But that all gets us to version 7, which if you're update, that'll be what you're running today. And that's where we began to include the Calyptix Cloud Manager actual software client.
So that's the second major piece. So you got the stuff on the box, and then now you added the
client. And the client lets us use the API, but from non-traditional means, where the traditional would be how you log in currently today and go to the GUI and go press buttons and change things. That's using our API. But now we can use CCM to control stuff through the API through a completely different interface and a whole new experience.
And that client is connected all the time to...
It's perpetual, encrypted, two-way communication between your network site and Calyptix. Right?
So that is, it's a big piece, a big project. I'm sure that will bring a lot of questions. And so we probably won't be able to get to them all, but more questions, the better. And keep chugging. So really today, very simple goal. Number one goal is to bring this out and show it to you and share it. And what else do you want to get out of this, Nick?
I mean, really, it's just to introduce people and get people excited about this. This has been a long time coming. He's actually kind of 6 years, not longer, to get to this place. And it's been a lot of work on my part as well as everyone else here. And it's just a very exciting moment to kind of finally enjoy.
But so we're going to get them excited. But after they get excited, what do you want them to do?
We need feedback. We need direction as to what comes next with this. This is going to be, expect an update cadence different from how we update AccessEnforcer, which has normally been very conservative and only ever so often. To add new stuff to CCM does not require us necessarily to update your AccessEnforcer, so we can be a lot more aggressive about introducing new features as soon as we think of them.
Perfect. And so the key there is mapping the system resources that can connect to and read and write into the system, and really the server side. So it's like you got to balance. I mean, you can bring a dump truck load of stuff back, but you have to balance it over the fleet, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a balance. It's a balancing. Where do we want to pull pieces of data from? How much do we want to do it at once? These are more design situations. So,
but the visibility is important because that is right now I want to see, right? So this is designed really well for that. It's minimal data and can provide instant.
It's big.
So the vision for CCM is pretty straightforward. We've been doing this quite a few years with small business IT professionals, and you guys amaze us every day. You have too much to do, too little time, not enough staff. And as we know, most of us don't get paid enough serving the market, but it is a mission. And so the challenges are disparate firewalls to configure and manage. And actually, Nick had a conversation with an executive recently at a very large reseller, billion-dollar reseller. And I was asking him about small business. And he said, Ben, small business is minimum 50 sites. We cannot go to a 1Z, 2Z, 5-person, 5-site business because the economics don't work. So serving the SMB market is challenge, but it's a very important mission. And so we want to give you guys the ability to customize every network environment for that unique customer to make sure that you get it up to date, you get it fast and effective service, respond to threats, and so forth. So, when you look at it, the marketing speaks, fragmented network management, growing complexity in network security, and then the staffing challenges. And I think those have been common messages in my partner calls that Greg and Chris have been setting up for us over the last several months. In terms of CCM, it really is your centralized secure management. And there are really two views, I think. One is from the customer perspective, Nick. What do you see the centralized fleet management do for customers?
Generally speaking, it's the actual changing of settings, perhaps blocking or allowing particular resources into your network. And as well as any kind of other, general, configuration that people need to do for the customer side. And then, as we were discussing, there's kind of the flip side of the configuration.
Right. Like these guys don't have enough staff. They got too much to do. So how are we going to do that?
And so another part of CCM is attempting to reduce the complexity in your operation by making it easier to make the changes that you do for your business. Like, for example, we were talking to one of users recently who's just about to go through an IS change. And so that's 30, 50 different units, all right, a remote management change. And so it's very obvious that going to go do that one by one is not feasible for continuing to scale your business and user stuff. So it's a great solution.
No, that's right. And we need people to implement the right controls, and we need to be able to change the right controls at the right time efficiently, because that encourages better security. And the other thing that you and I have talked about for a long time, Nick, is community shields and sharing threat intelligence. And, currently we do that on a 24-hour basis.
But CCM will ultimately allow us to issue threat intel and block things, et cetera, in real time. But in order for us to do real-time threat intel, we also need real-time remediation, or otherwise we're going to get into a situation where we're mass disrupting, client network traffic.
I'm not going to call it a CrowdStrike moment, but
it's something like that. And that's obviously cannot happen for us, though. Being able to build a resource around that,
I mean, the faster we can put it out, the faster we can remediate it if need be. And years ago, I had an opportunity with Stanford, and a very senior member of the U.S. military was speaking about cybersecurity. I think it was 2007. And he said, we have to take the man out of the loop and put the man on the edge of the loop. And really what this means is that we can rapidly accelerate the systems, the framework is there. We have to have the undo. And that's really what this will. So the quick overview there, obviously, there are going to be some sort of minimum requirements, Nick. And one of those is we're going to run this through our Salesforce partner portal. We are going to give you a single sign.
Yeah. So the same account you use to log into the partner portal today will also be what you use to sign into Calyptix Cloud Manager. And you can access it from either the partner portal on that new banner towards the right once you're enrolled, or you can visit ccm.calyptix.com, your web address.
And of course, that's going to be mandatory MFA, Nick.
Yeah. I mean, similar to how we introduced MFA in, correct me, because I'm forgetting the exact version, but point being, in order to do all of this and actually have the confidence of security that, we kind of sell, that's absolutely mandatory.
Yeah. And so the way the users will work, that your contacts or your partner account will be eligible to be activated to a portal account with a CCM permissions. So that'll all be rolled up there, and it's an important piece of putting two together. So this is a quick jump into the overview now. So obviously the Salesforce piece is one piece, and then the CCM is separate, but they're connected by pushing that information. That account association is absolutely critical. And so we'll show a lot of this in the demo, but this is a quick look. You've got basic homepage, layout of your units, tags, home, configuration capability, and so forth. So we'll get into this.
Yeah, we'll get into this in the demo.
So then there is one concept, you call it baselining, Nick.
Yeah, so it's a way for us to pick a unit, one of your AEs out in the field, and use that as the basis for comparing settings against on other parts of your fleet. So you could set up a unit that is basically, your North Star, which is probably how we ended up using the star. And you can synchronize those settings out to all the rest of your fleet or selections of it as you see that.
Perfect. I'm going to pull out the chat pieces here and whatnot, and the questions case those comes. Not yet. No, we all can be thinking about questions as we go, and some we may answer as we go. But feel free to get those things in the queue. So let's see. So changes. Talk a little bit about pushing changes and how that works in the system and what we'll see.
Well, so of course you can change things one by one and just do that. How you've probably traditionally done stuff before, but in CCM, we can go through different settings and queue up the changes that we want to make, and then do a single push all at once, so that will apply all of those settings to all of your selections that you've queued up all at once. And then, that's one button to flush everything out, and then your policy and settings changes are free.
So this is a wild card question. He's going to love this one. So if I queue up a bunch of changes, Nick, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. Can I?
You can cancel or undo individual changes that you've queued up. And in addition, something that I'll have probably be seriously next week, you'll be able to edit something you've queued up and remove individual units from that. So let's say, for example, if I'm blocking an IP address on 4 units, and then I decide, oh, wait, I want to keep it allowed on that one, but I've already set this up to be sent. I can edit that command, remove that one access enforcer I don't want that to happen to, and then push the change.
Oh, that's great. So it's set it up, review it, and then push it out. So that's a great process. So we're going to hit the demo, Nick. Are you nervous?
I know.
You've been working a few years.
Yeah, just a go.
So again, we're going to hit the home page. We're going to look at what we call the tags. We're going to configure a single unit, and then we're going to check that against some other units. So then we're going to come back and we're going to hit you with some survey questions real quick. So be thinking about what you see and what you don't see. And here we go. So I'm going to bounce back over here. Hopefully that's showing. Let's check the audience.
You're looking good.
All right. So continue working. May have logged me out, Nick. Nope. Okay. So this is the Calyptix port. And many of you guys have seen this already. And you'll see right down here, this view over here to the right, this try now. If you have a beta license or user account, you'd be able to log in there. And that's how it single signs on into the other. So I'm signed in as Ben Beta CCM. So it'll show that, I can see my typical partner accounts information, and I can see my network sites. The reason I want to show you this is, all right, well, let's give it a refresh. All right, we're going to go back through the login. So that's good practicing. But let me grab that. The reason I do want to show this is because it shows how your information in your portal account is the source of truth for the active live units for your account. And so that is that's sort of where that comes. Probably used the wrong. Yep. That's what I do. I always scrap the line. 298. Never forget it. ID 10T, right? It happens all the time. So again, we're going to jump back into the portal. Yeah. So we went straight to the network site. So what you'll see here is the 4 network sites that are there. And so if I go back to the home page, we'll see if this will work. Log into so that I'm going to transition over into the Cloud Manager. So pretty straightforward, Nick. We've got the home page.
Yeah. So here's our home page, which includes a table of all of your active access enforcers that are out in the field. We've got a couple of different pieces of information, like their network site name, which is what we store in Salesforce, as well as your organization name. That's the name you give an access enforcer yourself when you set it up, like in the first time set up or at the settings page. We have a status column that shows
what does this do if I hit that? Can I hit that?
Yeah, you can hit. Yeah.
All right.
So this pulls up a pop-up with a live fetch data from an access enforcer.
So I got the RAM and the memory.
Yeah, some performance metrics, some basic information, and of course the network graph. And all of this is fetched the moment you click that button and this pop-up comes up. And so if you hit the switch on live updates, we can demonstrate that we can live stream any data for access, of course. And so
so that's the actual graph in the box.
Yeah, it's the same network graph you'd be.
That's what you've been working on for 4 years.
Yes. But anyways, so as you can see, this is live data that we pull. And so keep that in mind when you're thinking about new stuff that you might want to see in CCM. So anything that's on an access enforcer, we can fetch pretty much in real time.
And there's going to be a balance. One of the pieces we've got to play with is the single use instance, where like you're investigating one site versus sort of a fleet view, right?
Yeah. So there's different kinds of data we want to pull in those situations. And so I think that's part of our ongoing exploratory.
That's the feedback we need. live use cases are critical, and we can really work towards that.
And the more concrete, the better. Hey, I need to be able to do this because get told that, I go and make it. So do that thing.
And
So anyways, there's a couple more columns on the homepage. There's also a thing.
no, there have been questions.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So there's also a thing for tags, which we can go ahead and explain now. Tags are a system for adding units to a list or organizing them in a group in CCM. And so you can use different tags to filter your table for picking which units you want to work with, or just general organizations. So we can add them by going to the tag manager. And so as we see, we don't have any tags currently. And so we can do a pretty honest.
We got 4 units there. What are we doing?
Well, let's make a home office. That will end up being a unit that we want to synchronize stuff from.
All right, which one's the home one?
We'll do that very first one, the CCM partnership, maybe. And so just like that, now it's saved, and that's type home office, and then go make one for blank. And go. We'll have the other 3 units.
Bottom
3. And so now what we've done is we've organized our fleet. And so we have, if you go back to the home base, then we can see the tags down home office and branch offices. And using these, we can filter the table. And
wait, why'd they go away?
So tags are additive. In other words, what we're doing here is we're asking something that's tagged home office and branch offices, which none exists, so none appear.
Oh, okay.
Now, another thing I want to go ahead and highlight real quick is that while we have this home page with the table of units, there's also a version of this that can pop out on any page. If you could hit if you could clear that and hit the icon in the corner of
up here
for the unit picker. Oh, and so you can put out your picker to change the units that you're working with on any page, both with that icon as well as a keyboard combination. Will actually be configured. And it can be expanded out to show the full content of the table as seen on the homepage, like we've done here, or you can shrink it back to the more minimum.
What's the units offline?
So these are what we call smart filters, and they filter your unit table based on live criteria. So in this instance, you've actually, by clicking that button that you just click, and here, go ahead and do it again. We've live checked the status of web filtering each unit in your fleet, and then use their.
You're telling me we pay for it, and these guys aren't using it?
Supplements.
All right.
But anyways, like I was saying, we can live fetch different particular criteria. Like so-and-so have web filtering. So-and-so have IDS IPS off. And there's a lot of these that we're going to be looking to introduce. And if there's particular live criteria you'd like to be able to filter your fleet by, that's another piece of feedback here.
Yes. So we've got to get a list of all the different types of potential filters and then design that. So it's because that's a lot of different ways.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to slice into that. So stuff that's most important to you first.
So let's go. So we got the tags, we did the home.
So let's start setting something.
All right. So let's pick a unit.
So we'll start with our word.
Just do the home office.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do the home office. And let's see how go to remote management.
So we'll start with remote management.
All right.
So if y'all are familiar with this on the AccessEnforcer, this is a setting that prevents people, except for specific allowed addresses and site ranges, to remotely administer.
So if this is on, it restricts remote management.
If it's off, then everyone's.
All right. So we definitely want to turn this on, right? So
just like flip the switch. And now
there was an IP in there.
it's not one that we really use, but it's all right, sufficient.
So we're apply.
And so like we mentioned before, we queue up a change when we hit it. And so when we're ready to.
Wait, that's the wrong IP. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
So then submit.
Yes. And so once we've queued up something we can submit it, and then it sends. Green means good. We're all done. And as we also saw on the left side of the screen, the view refresh to load the latest state.
All right. So let's turn the web filtering on, because we know it's off here. I want to put it on.
Yeah. So we'll click enforce on for both the HTTP and HTTPS.
So I do want to highlight, so over the years, when we modified the HTTPS and HTTP filter to use the Web Bright Cloud classification, which was very effective, but we went over, had some memory issues, and some of the guys would turn HTTPS filtering off at also is they got older boxes. And so we do see a lot of units where there's disparate settings because these are two specific settings. So this is a good one to check when you get this tool, that you have a consistent policy here. But these are two different configurations.
Yeah, they're ultimately two different pieces of software handling.
So just hit apply.
Yeah, we'll hit apply and then we'll go ahead and submit it.
Okay.
So now this one is actually starting and restarting software on AccessEnforcer. So this will spin for a moment before we get it to return.
Okay.
But we can just wait for it for him.
So currently we have just the basic framework here for the web filtering. We are looking to add the more expanded categories and exemptions and the like. And as you think about adding that, it's really about prioritizing where in the queue that is for development. Some of these things, as Nick shared, we can do a lot of stuff already in the interface for CCM with the APIs exist. Others will require on-box changes. So there we go.
There we go.
So that take a little second to just make the change, restart each of those. So let's go over IDS, IPS.
All right. So similar kind of idea. It's the same 4 settings that you're used to. Configuring IDS and IPS on that system.
Make sure that dynamic block mode on. That makes those guys go away fast.
Mm-hmm.
And the balance rules is a medium performance. And then we got auto enable new rules, so we'll apply that. I always got to remember to submit. But it's a good check. I'm not complaining. So,
in the future, we might also prompt people. They say, "Hey, are you sure you want to do this?" I think might not be worse.
Well, is increasing, especially when we get to the baseline. So we made that change, and now we're going to go to geofence. So now, hang on a second. Oh, show some. So if we uncheck this,
and so everything knows, like the current AccessEnforcer that you're working. And so we don't have anything selected right now. So it doesn't make sense to try and change.
So I can't even.
All of our controls get to see. But once you reselect cycle, all of our controls come.
So this is actually showing me
that you're not working with anything current.
Well, I just add. So now this is showing me the actual.
So this current state of geofence selected access.
I got loads of geo.
This is a quirk that'll be going soon. But we currently load a bunch of information about the countries of the world, specifically from an AE directly. In the future, this will be served by CCM itself. There won't be this step to load geo information. But now that it's done,
so guess all
our table full of countries is.
And the reason they was doing that is pulling like countries, but also the number of alerts associated each country. And we just determined that's really necessary. So we're going to allow inbound, and we're going to make it only US. We're going to block it if it's not got a country. So when I apply, that's what a setting I like.
And then we'll submit.
All right. So then the last thing we're going to hit is the IP list. We'll just show that real quick and then come back and just doing the base thing. Perfect.
So geofence is
that's fine. And so these are all the changes we've made. That's the list of them. And then IP list.
So this is your, static allow list, static block list, dynamic block list from the security settings for AccessEnforcer.
So there's nothing in that one.
Yeah. So we blocked anything recently.
Oh, for that unit.
Yeah, for that unit. Correct.
Okay. So this is the allow list. So let's just, those are in the list. And then,
if we wanted to block something new.
I saw some stuff from DigitalOcean. It's whacking on one of my sites. Let me put this in here.
Perfect.
So if we got this, and we call this DigitalOcean, the hostile. Been trying to log into my stuff. So,
and then we'll go and submit that as well. And it's been added. And so we'll see the refresh.
Okay. So now let's give I'm going to clear these changes. That's all the changes. Okay. But they're there.
Yeah. They've been applied. They're already done. So now if we want to start thinking about the compare and see.
Oh, wait. I always forget it's added.
Yeah. We might make that a setting too. So just go ahead and take all the tags off and just select.
All right.
No, easy switch to it.
Okay. So now select them all. So let's go back to the remote. So okay, what's this mean?
So CCM can, when you're working with multiple units, we can identify when pieces of your selection have different settings from your baseline unit that you had the star icon.
So why did it turn yellow?
So yellow in that warning message, which we intend to shorten up a little bit, is to warn you that your settings are the same across your selections. And so you could either apply it right here, or if you see that thing, the compare tool,
Here.
yes, we can pop that open, and that's a table that will show all your units that you're working with in the settings that they are both that are in sync and out of sync.
Okay, so our baseline, the headquarters, we made it restrict remote management active.
Meanwhile, everybody else has the remote management address, but they do not have remote management, so they're out of.
So what do we do?
Well,
we need to put that everywhere.
yes. You want to just hit the sync button,
That's it. That's it.
and it will
What to do?
get a bunch of things. Don't worry, that's fun.
So,
Just go ahead and hit clear.
all right, those are all. So it enabled it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. You see the yellow and the warning have all gone away, and so everybody can see.
Okay.
And also you see that in the bottom table. Look the compared.
So one of the things I know for me, I've been working through the language, and it's a little developer, Nick.
Yeah, of course, everything we're showing here today is, beta software is subject to change.
A lot of debugging terms in there for you.
Flake for improvement and polishing.
Got to do some more dumbing down a bit. So web filtering. All right. So we got the same units. Are they picked? You start the
pick. Yeah. So you're loading up their data, and so they're all. There's a sync issue with this as well.
All right.
So we can pop that.
We got to shorten that.
Yeah.
Too many words for a bit. All right. So this is open.
Yeah. So as you can see, there's a bunch of variants between our baseline unit and the rest of our.
So we got web filter is in enforced mode for HTTP and HTTPS, and sometimes it's in monitor.
Some of them have it in monitor. Some of them have it. And we can get everybody all on the same page with one button.
So if I hit save, and this was the one that takes a little bit longer, right?
This will take a good moment. Since this is restarting software on 4 different machines at once, but
three.
Three. Sorry.
That's right.
And so you could even navigate from this.
Let's check questions.
Yeah, let's have. Yeah, what we did there.
So
I picked myself.
Well, it's not really a survey. Compliance is also a must from Eric. That's a great comment. So actually, yes, one of the things I've been sharing partners on our calls is we're working with the CMMC auditor to review a configuration implementation and get a white paper that would kind of play at some level CCM so that we make sure that we can map to the compliance for folks. And so that's a great question, observation. So one question, is the application a separate installable software, or is there some kind of install, or what's the?
There's no additional software to install. The way you interacted with it is just in your web browser by going to the partner portal or ccm.calyptix.com.
So one person asked, if they hit try now, what's going to happen?
If you don't have an account, it's you won't be able.
Yeah.
And so, we're currently in the middle.
So it will require a user license account individual for the CCM over and above the portal.
As we see, I wasn't kidding. It did take a
minute.
Luckily, it all worked out just fine.
All right. So we'll go back. So that's web filter and got that baseline. The IDS IPS. So we went to IP. Oh.
So once again,
clear those out.
So again,
these are out of sync.
These are out of sync as well. So we can use the tool and we can see.
Okay. So I got IPS mode, balance, and it also shows the multi-WAN downgrade mode, as well as the advanced feature to do temporarily paused, which are not things that are actual settings. So we'll work.
They're not something you really configure. So
they are impacts.
This view for IDS IPS is under supported well. I also would say, don't worry about the things in blue that say extra best.
Yep.
But So anyways, if we want to fix this all up, we can just sync it.
So that means that's an IDS mode, and that one's disabled. Okay. So we're going to make that more simple.
Yes.
So we're going to hit sync and we're going to see, all right, there they go.
And all done. And everything's been refreshed and now we're all sync and complete. Now
we go back to the top.
So warning's gone.
That's good. So again, you could do this just for a subset, right? So if I was only looking at,
if we didn't want to do this for everybody, we could do it for
if I was only looking at 2 units,
so on and so forth.
okay.
Just make sure.
Yeah, we got you. So then geofence. So this, I will share, I mean, we've got a lot of folks using geofence. It's very, very effective. And so yeah.
Just pull up. So we don't need geodata to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But this is, if you've got exposed ports particularly, or even, VPN, this really shuts down a lot of inbound probes and activity, trying to check your system. So here we've got the baseline. We put it on block unassigned and only allow US. So this one's right, but it's got some extra countries. So this one's...
One thing I'll mention about the extra stuff is that for some things, particularly when the setting involves countries you're allowing, you could be in sync in the sense that two people have the same items of both of their lists. One person might have some extra stuff in there. And so we'll be looking at different synchronization strategies, or in other words, to handle the extra items when you're syncing something. It could be keep extras or remove extras, but that's something in the pipeline in case you're curious.
Use cases are great, though, to be honest. So if we just sync this one,
you sync that, it'll go through the sync process and everything should turn great. Just not.
So one difference between sync changes and apply changes is the sync.
The sync is pretty.
This is not. There's no. I mean,
currently it's not cute. So we're exploring in terms of the user experience how to be. Should that good?
It should. Or let's see. So this is an opportunity for us to show for the beta users that will be enrolled, and we'll tell you how to enroll, is how to send feedback.
Yeah, so we've got an integrated send feedback button. You can leave your name and email and comment about either a suggestion or if he's out of bother or something like that. And you can also take a screenshot, which we'll do here.
Why do you do?
Well, it helps better show me what you were looking at when you've had a problem or if you have an idea. Sometimes it can be indicative of what actual problem is. And just also as one more thing, when you submit one of these reports, it also includes a bunch of extra information from the application that helps me understand exactly how things got into the particular state.
Yes.
It also gives me a couple of other pieces of information, like what were you doing in the seconds before? What couple of things did you click on before you just
gotcha. So Nick, some didn't go here, so we're gonna have to circle back.
But yeah, well,
I may try it one more time.
Well, actually, if you just go to a different page,
do a refresh.
Yeah, gotcha. Go to that. There. Go back. Okay. So it was just a small quirk in it refreshing your syncing. It did in fact actually sync.
Yeah. So
it is a beta.
It didn't show us the responses, and
but we'll get that. We'll get that.
So then the last item was the allow list. So I've got all the units checked again in unit picker. So this is kind of now again to show you the instantaneousness. So if you change your units, you're going to get different data pretty quick. But it does have to process it. So the more and more units. So let's see, we got some units. I added I'm in the allow list. So I can remove this, just that unit, remove that from that strip. That's only there. So we can remove that.
So to explain what we're looking at in a little bit is that we're showing all items in allow lists across all AEs that you select. And then when we're talking about the presence, so on and so forth, we're talking about the presence, we're talking about, is it in sync across everything, or is it missing from units you have selected, but is available on your baseline unit, or vice versa? Sure case. And so anyways, you can sync individual items
I want DNS to be allowed every. You said what to that? That break it?
No.
Always possible.
But it is possible. Anyways, one more thing we should show about this is synchronized pirate list. If you're okay doing that.
Where's that?
This thing list.
Oh, there.
Yeah, it needs to be put somewhere else. But
let's go over to the block list.
Yeah. We'll synchronize the block list.
So, this is that one I added to digital.
So we added, remember earlier, we blocked DigitalOcean on that one main unit, but it hasn't been synchronized out. And so as you see, that's happening right now as he hit the button. And now all the stuff blocked is synchronized across all the units.
So then the other list is the dynamic block list, which gets populated by the IDS, IPS dynamic blocking. So some of these are on some units and some are not. So you can't actually remove. I mean, you can remove
to remove stuff. And you technically
I don't think you can add.
I wonder if that's not true.
I did try it. You can't add to the dynamic block list. It's only addable by the feature in the box itself. So, but but you could add it to your block list if you wanted to put,
and that's probably where okay.
Yep. That's a good thought. All right. So that's
a rough, run through of what we've got so far.
We covered a lot. I think, I meant to cover the feedback thing and we got there. Now let's go back and hit the survey.
Sure.
And we got some questions, work through those. And let's see, let me go to question number 2. So I got 2 sets of feature ads. And one is sort of some sets that are maybe things you had thought of with things that you have thought of, but these are sort of API oriented box required. So this first one is, if you guys hopefully can see it. Get everybody to. This is the important stuff. So this is why you're here. So for the few of you that want to tell us what to do, it's just your chance. But so they're coming in. We got about 40%. If we could get some more, that'd be great. Take just a second, guys. So web filtering. So that'd be configuring the details, Nick.
Yeah. So that's categories, blocking individual domains,
exemptions,
web filter exemptions, all that stuff.
Right. And
so right now, currently only the 4 settings.
The outbound filtering, that's the firewall range.
Yeah. So, that could even be a scenario where you could be using CCM and outbound filtering rules to create a blanket default deny policy on sites.
So you can push out all your exceptions.
You could push out the exceptions to default deny through CCM.
And then static route, WAN, LAN, and gatekeeper. So the WAN, LAN, I think I was talking with some members of the team, and they said that
it's the most dangerous thing. So one idea I have, I just while we're kicking things around briefly, is that might work if you've ever changed the resolution on your monitor on your computer, you don't confirm it after so long, it goes back to the previous setting. So that might be out.
Yep.
Anyways, this is all stuff we're just all trying to think out and plot out what's next.
So we got to give you a couple minutes. So the gatekeeper piece, let me tell you about that one. So gatekeeper, of course, is the dynamic port forwarding, zero trust network access to the endpoints. So you could get RDP again or SSH. So Nick came in one day and said, Ben, that actually, we could do that from CCM. So you could essentially enable gatekeeper rules from CCM to do service and support.
So, while this is not ready today, it could be a situation where you jump into CCM, look at individual network sites, pick the one that you're needing to support or triage or whatever, drill down into all the devices behind that AccessEnforcer, and then using our gatekeeper feature, jump directly through all of this infrastructure to directly connect to it without having to open up ports or exposure to the wide.
Yeah. So for me, I'm thinking about my parents. They're 88 and 86. One of them may be on this call. I'm not sure. But I think about their need to access help, right? And like if they could poke the AccessEnforcer from the inside, say, hey, help me, in essence, authorize their service provider's access that could start the flow of that request for help and enable that secure authenticated access that's restricted only to that
one machine where all of this is also logged throughout a group.
Yeah, so talking about compliance, that's pretty powerful. Yeah. So let's go ahead and share these. We've got most folks. I'm going to close it. We'll share it. And so the number one item
is our web filtering.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Actually, in config in LAN WAN configuration, right up behind it.
That's with a close second to outbound filtering. But the gatekeeper and the static route, see, that's really important. You don't let Ben run away with the.
Well, it's just that it doesn't mean we're not going to do it. It just helps us go twice.
We got one more question on the features, and again, there's a lot more features in the closing survey that should only take a few minutes. And we got one more poll here. So these they're showing.
They are.
So these are a little different. These are a lot of requests from partners that we've gotten directly because not all partners understood the web filtering limits currently, the API. But so the configuration template, what's that, Nick?
So without getting too technical, the way CCM works is that, and also how our core API works is that it's a series of well-structured commands. And so we could create a configuration template that you could apply to new AccessEnforcers you buy to state you're changing over to something else, where we pre-record all the settings that you want to apply to it, and then that's saved as a bundle. And when you want to apply that onto a unit, you can do so all at once in a single move. And that would just effectively be flushing all of those recorded changes that you've saved in your template off to that AE.
So we had about half the folks responded. If we could go ahead and because you're not going to have a vote if you don't participate. So we need you to participate. Put your pencil down. This is where you get what you want. You get what you vote for. So we'll give you another 30 seconds. But no touch provisioning.
That's what we've heard a lot about too from people who want an ideal world. This would be a system where you could reset up an AccessEnforcer inside CCM. Same thing with the configuration template, but also assign that, applying that template to a new unit that you've purchased. And so that when it gets first plugged in and plugged into the internet, comes online, it contacts our infrastructure, downloads that template, applies it, and is immediately ready to go. And so that would be a situation where you could do a lot more, less technical people do against just plug it in, wait for the beep. Oh, have a good day.
All right. 2 more seconds. Want to close it? We're going to share. All right. So
provisioning and templates.
Well, logs, it's not about visibility of logs. So
it was a visibility thing earlier.
Yeah. So that's definitely I think to me, so what I would connect just looking at these two is you take the visibility and logs, tie those together. Because now, and then you take like the web filter visibility, you need the ability to see what's going on and then create the exception, right? So that's a gap.
Okay. Yeah. Plus one ultimately logs in, influence configuration changes because you're seeing something you don't want to see or you want to see that maybe you're fine. But if you see something you don't, then that implies ultimately you're going to end up making.
Yep. No, that's great feedback. All right. So we got a couple more slides. Requirements. Got to have 3 units. You got to be committed to sharing feedback. Make sure you're running 7.0 or higher. Why is that?
Like we mentioned earlier, the actual CCM client did not get introduced until AccessEnforcer version 7, as well as several other pieces that need to be put on the unit for ensuring the secure communication.
Sure. Complete the beta application, and then it is real-time testing, so it will be your units. You will be making changes to your units. So that's something to think about. So we'll probably run this about 2 months. Hope to launch 12/1/24, and we'll be communicating regularly, particularly with the beta participants.
And one more thing regarding communication, in the very near future, as people are starting to use this, there will also be a in application, in CCM itself, there will be a changelog thing or little notice that we'll repop every so often to inform you when there's actually something user-facing and relevant that's new that you should know.
So that feedback widget that we showed you that I used, Nick and the development team will get that feedback.
It goes directly to us.
So the more you share there, the better. And that takes out any middleman to get direct access to the builders. So again, the way to get there is there's a beta application page in the partner portal. And then just looking for your feedback. So you're going to get early access and really shape the development. Because at this point, the speed at which we expect Nick to be working, it is really fast because we've got all the API stuff in the box. And that's about putting it in front of you guys and then shaping it, improving it, and making it valuable, save you time, and help you service.
Just like I mentioned earlier, expect a somewhat faster cadence for new things reaching us. We have to be very careful about updating AccessEnforcer. But with CCM, we have a platform that we can go in and swap stuff out, and it doesn't bother you or affect your sites. So
we're very excited also to announce 2 additional pieces we're working on to offer. One we call Community Shield Plus, and that is a managed detection and response service with 24/7 monitoring of your network activity from your AccessEnforcer. That will include the outbound Community Shield alerts and suspicious web traffic, IDS, IPS alerts, logins. And with that, we intend to implement an effective streamline or incident response plan so that each of our partners can collaborate with their customers to provide a clear communication and investigation response plan. So we know what to do, when to do it, and why to do it. We'll be asking you to provide data classification on your subnets, that which is of high impact, most severe data. You've got medium, and then, stuff you don't care about. We'll do that, and that'll map across our insights into the events we're monitoring and detecting, and you will help us enhance Community Shield. We are seeing a lot of outbound traffic and a lot of suspicious, uncategorized web traffic across our fleet. So nobody should feel bad that they got stuff. My buddy who's in the Army Cyber Command keeps telling me they're already in our networks. And the government keeps telling us they're already in our utility services. So the fact that 88.2% of our fleet had outbound suspicious web traffic shouldn't be unexpected, right? But now it's time to do something about it. So Community Shield Plus will allow you to set up that incident plan in advance, enable us to deploy the necessary resources and tools to help uncover what might be there. And let's get that in place before it's too late. The CXDR is basically going a step further, and we're going to bring to you what's called Extended Community Shield or Calyptix XDR, Community XDR. I don't know. It's a play on the C word. Really, we believe with Community Shield and the data collection that we're doing to identify the hostile infrastructure, that we can, in partnership with a very large service provider, deliver really effective, really affordable, easy endpoint network and cloud service monitoring. Some of you guys have tools in place and you may not need anything. So you may have clients that don't want anything. We get a lot of asks. The most common question has been, we need help. You've helped us for many years. You can help us put the right tools and pieces in place that are affordable. Bring that to market. So this is truly in response to partner ask. And also the open question is, what is it that we're stopping? I don't know how many of you guys saw the report that came out the last week or so about the FBI taking down a botnet. And, essentially there was a bunch of Internet of Things devices, SOHO routers and the like that had been compromised. And it was a very sophisticated, presumably Chinese-based APT that had thousands and thousands of devices under their control. And they were all memory resident infections. So they essentially control the device, get in memory. And so I think, if I read it right, Lawrence is taking a look at it. Well, I think really it was just a power reboot took care of it. Oh yeah, we got questions coming. So I don't want to mention those two, and we'll hit the questions. And I think you got those up, Nick?
Yeah, so here.
Oh, before you do that, remember the survey when you leave us will take you 2 to 3 minutes. You'll be voting for the roadmap of CCM. You'll also get a chance to comment on licensing and pricing. And we are using Salesforce as the back end for this. That's not free. It costs us money. we're not looking to make a massive amount of money, but we do have real cost, and we need to implement a framework that's reasonable, affordable, and we're looking for fair and reasonable guidance as you guys evaluate what we can do for you with CCM. Q&A.
All right. So I'm going to run through some questions we've got here, and, some I might need to hand off to you, Ben. So first one is there a help page in case I forget what's said in the webinar? There's actually a guided self-tour thing inside CCM that will highlight different pieces of the user interface and what they do, as well as how to do a couple of things. That's going to be expanded further at the course of development. And of course, in addition, there'll be actual documentation you can read, video, tutorial information, also all of that kind of stuff will come for time. Then you want to take the GF one?
Yeah, we'll circle back to that.
Regarding, can this be accessed on Apple products? Sorry, yes, it's a web browser. It's a web page, web application. I actually developed it on, so don't need to worry about any compatibilities thing.
Don, that's a great question. Let me read this one in Neil.
Sure.
Can the system store changes if a unit is offline? What happens with a unit that's not online?
So actually, it can't. Through parts of the underlying technology we've used to enable this, we could have commands get sent and held in a queue of sorts until a unit comes back online.
Currently, you can't make changes.
It's likely, currently they will actually queue up briefly if a unit is offline in the current setup, but not so very long.
But I don't think you can pick it.
No, you can't pick it. We don't have any configure. We don't have the ability to. We have not surfaced that feature to the actual.
Yeah. So, and one of the reasons is managing that offline queuing of changes for a unit that's offline. So that's.
Yeah, but no, that is, and that's also another piece that kind of touches on that is configuration templates or, saving a batch of commands to, be applied later. All of that's in play, basically.
So this is a good question. Does it make changes in parallel or serial?
When there's multiple changes on an individual feature, so let's say the IP list, static allow list, for example, that will happen in serial, one of them the next and then the next. When we're sending out changes that are different features, so like, let's say I'm blocking something and then also I'm changing the settings on a web filter, that is done in parallel. And that part of that is actually handled by the way the AccessEnforcer core API. And that's just that's a design thing that's been there for a while.
Question, what happens if I go off the page while it is spinning on the web filter?
The spinning is just waiting for a response. The commands have already been sent. And so it ultimately apply either which way. For the web filter stuff, and also, I'm sure everyone noticed that was going a little slow. That's an implementation detail that deviated in the near future. It won't need to take that order to do that change.
It's a question I'm not sure I entirely understand. So it may we need to circle back for Lucas, but the dynamic block list makes things faster, ?
Well, in the context of using dynamic block lists, I think yes, it's a performance cheaper way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But for the context of most of what we talk about, I don't think that
makes sense. Cycle back. It's
audit log. We are in the middle of designing the audit, or we're designing the audit log system for CCM. Currently, we have logs around who logs in, who does what, who's touching what units when, and so on and so forth. But we do not have everything ready yet to surface that user interface. So if you were to log in, if you wanted to go check logs to see what one of your employees did, like that. But that'll be forthcoming in the near future.
So Ken asked about IP lists. Can we upload lists from one AccessEnforcer that may be very detailed to share with the others and push those lists? So yeah, that's precisely what we did.
That's precisely.
But one thing, Ken, that is not it. So that the additive to the list currently is a single entry.
Yeah, and so we'll be introducing a thing for that page to do a tab where you could
do exact. So you could take digital
copy paste of a bunch of things and push that in all at once. That'll be,
and then you could baseline that to the.
Yeah, they could use that as the baseline stuff to say that's what he's.
Yep. Yeah.
Regarding changes to offline units, if it's still available in our server-side queue, will apply until, or apply as soon as it gets online and connects to the system. The expiration, I would need to go return to my notes, tell me it's intentionally currently very short because we are during this testing phase.
So the question, we had a couple of questions about security and about, putting all your eggs in one basket and just sort of what that means. And I think that's a very fair concern. And we're probably going to need to provide some more insights on what we're doing there. But I'll let you want to speak to that. Just like, okay, so.
Well, so I mean, for example, all communication between all the pieces of infrastructure are secured through TLS, client certificate that's unique to every access.
Yeah.
So command.
There is device level authentication for these devices, as well as, multi-factor user authentication.
And then in addition, in the future, we're going to be looking at building out user roles and permission systems. So, for example, you could an employee is only allowed to touch certain units as part of your overall fleet, or maybe they're only allowed to touch particular settings. So, and then in addition, we are in the process of doing some engaging external like some people for security reviews.
Yeah. So one thing to be aware of is the NIST has come out with some prototype guidelines for the SOHO homeowner router of the future that should have no public-facing attack exposure. And so one implementation through CCM is to eliminate remote access. So have restricted remote access enabled and no approved public IPs, which would, in essence, then you could use CCM to go in and enable remote access temporarily, do what you need to do, and then take it away. So while it definitely does create, exposure, it is device to device authentication, and we think it's pretty tight. So I mean, it's a fair question and probably one we need to clarify more on what we've done and what we're doing there.
There's a question on sending data to SEM. I would encourage you to detail that in as much detail as possible. Survey it.
Yeah, I wonder if the question is about sending change logs from the CCM.
Oh, just is like to push the audit logs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and of course that if that's something that people.
That actually becomes eminently more easy in this infrastructure, though. And then in terms of the AccessEnforcer itself, actually, with the CXDR and Community Shield Plus, we will be evaluating additional paths to export logs in a robust, secure manner as well. But we'll get that service started.
And so I'm going to try and rapid fire through a couple. What happened to the extra countries on the sync? They disappear. That was something I was mentioning earlier about synchronization strategies. Currently, when you sync stuff and there's extra things, they're left alone. But some people may not want that. And so that'll be a setting that'll be introduced in the near future for compare and sync system. Is this a paid feature? Is it included? We are still working on that.
Yeah, so that there will be some charge, and we really solicit your feedback on it. User license, box license, or whatnot. But again, we have out-of-pocket third-party costs, not to mention quite a bit of investment here. But we do want to make it reasonable. But we do expect it, frankly, to save you time and improve your ability to deliver service to your customers. If it doesn't do that, it shouldn't be worth anything. So if it doesn't justify its cost, then that's a problem. So,
all right. So we've blocked some port forwardings based on the IP address. These are the IP addresses of our team. Do we update these all at once on all units? The answer is yes. If that's something you want to do when we introduce port forwarding, there would be into CCM. There'll be a ability for you to synchronize addresses and open ports for particular addresses, things like that.
One comment, one partner before has shared with me the challenge about access techs, and as they leave, right, they come and go. And if you were to use CCM and CCM only to enable management of your AccessEnforcer, a la no external facing login, then if a staff member leaves you, you disable their user account for CCM, and and they can't log in at anybody. So though there's certain risk in CCM, there's also the ability to tighten things up a lot tighter.
So, now one real quick, and we got to rapid fire through a couple things real quick. Can we do confirmations for high impact changes before they're completed by email? That's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, we had thought about some, requiring a second person to turn the key for certain changes. That's kind of loosely in the roadmap, and we need to sketch out more clearly what that looks like. But the interest is definitely noted. We've got a couple people who fortunately are telling us that we did radio buttons instead of check.
A single. So survey number 3 was a single answer. We're sorry about that.
Sorry about that, everyone.
But the survey at the end allowed you to project which one.
Risk to our clients for us participating in the CCM beta. I would identify those mainly as
configurations,
unintentional configuration changes. However, nothing that we expose in CCM is capable of downing anyone's system. Unless I don't know. If you block your upstream gateway with the IP list, basically there isn't very little.
Yeah.
And intentionally, that's why we've chosen this first set of features, is because they're fairly limited. I mean, I guess you could lock yourself out of the AccessEnforcer if you're in another country or as a geofence too. But let's see. So now this is a very good one. Any plans to provide a network list or map for subnets monitored by the feed? The answer to that is yes. And we're actually, I'm in the middle of some exploratory work on calling Network Site Explorer. And that'll be a thing that'll be in CCM that'll allow you to drill down deep on an individual network site, look at all of the devices behind an AccessEnforcer, and then view metadata about them, bandwidth, connection information, all sorts of odds and ends, and then possibly also the future gatekeeper through CCM. So if that's an actual endpoint that you can remote to, that would be.
Got a couple of questions, Nick. If the box is double natted or otherwise doesn't have a public IP address, what happens?
You're still connected to CCM, and
as long as it can get out,
and get out to the internet. So
that's a great question.
And part of our design was around that issue, so that we could have a persistent bidirectional communication without having to pierce people's.
So that answers the next question. Will public static IP be required for AccessEnforcer to be managed?
No, not. And if you've got an IP address that changes all the time, that's relevant to this will be just fine.
Okay. We may have missed a few, but that was a lot of good questions.
I'm gonna quickly look through them real quick. So you've got an so here's a question around updated grade maintenance or management. Currently, I won't dive deep into the current way we do updates for AccessEnforcer, but in the future, we are looking to provide control for you to go ahead and accept an update or begin it, upgrade, that kind of stuff through CCM, something we'll be looking at. Let's see, and then.
Well, Nick, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. This has been a great first introduction. I was really happy that we were able to do this. And of course, I want to thank everyone here for your time for this meeting and for joining.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't thank Nick. Nick has been working on this project for many, many years. And he stuck with us for a long time to get here and done a really tremendous job. And I'm so excited for him to get this out. And you guys to have a chance to direct the road, because that's what this is about. And the other thing I'd like to share is that most of this content was put together by our marketing director, Joseph, who was unable to join us due to some personal reasons. And we're thinking about him and keep him in place.
Thanks so much, guys. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend.